Hey everyone, it is Uncork with Kate, and I'm here with you to talk about winemaking 101. Now, if you ever thought about making your own wine, I want you to give it a try. It is easy. If you can read directions, you can make wine. I'm going to show you what I do here. I have a new Sauv Blanc that I'm going to make, and I'll show you what comes in the kit first, and then I'll show you the tools that you need and show you the course of what I do as I make wine. So I am by no means an expert. I've made a few batches. They've turned out pretty good in blind wine tastings with some friends. So the first thing I do is I have this large kit here. Let me show you this. I'll lift it up in my box so you can see it a little bit better. It's heavy. This is your box of juice. And it comes with a little packet that looks like this. And I'll take out everything in the packet so you can see exactly what comes in it. Oh, that is heavy. So you get your instructions. If you can read, you can make wine. You can even, if you can read in French, you can make wine. So first step you do is you take everything out of your little packet, and inside here the first thing that I see is a packet number 2 called bentonite. I'm going to show you that. That's the one we're going to use today. We got a packet number 4 of potassium. Then we've got a packet, oh, did I skipped over 3. 3 is potassium metabisulfate. I know I said that wrong. But then we also have some yeast, and packet number 5. I don't know what this is. I just put it in when they tell me to. And finally, I don't know what this one is either. I just put it in when they tell me to. So we got our packets of stuff that we need to start with. So the first thing I'm starting with is this giant bucket. This is my primary fermenter. This one happens to be 5 gallons, but you can get up to 6 gallons. I don't need that big of one. It comes with a top that seals on very easily, but it's got a hole in the center. Do you see that hole? And that is for a very specific reason. I'm going to show you what that is for. Okay, so the most important thing that you need to start out with is to sanitize all of your equipment. And you sanitize using the potassium metabisulfate. Now you may say, hey, wait a minute, that was in that packet that came in the package of wine? Yeah, there's a reason for that, because it actually stops the fermentation. So if you are using equipment that maybe you used prior to and maybe had some sort of yeast or something else attached to it, it can totally ruin your wine. So you definitely want to sanitize beforehand. I've done all that already, luckily. So first thing I need to do is dump my bentonite, 30 grams, into my giant bucket. It says so in the directions right here. Clean and sanitize. Pour 2 cups of hot tap water into the bottom of the primary fermenter right here, and stir in the packet of number 2 bentonite. So here I go. I got my pre-measured hot water in my sanitized equipment. I've got my bentonite that came with my wine. This is actually kind of gross looking. I'll show you in a second, but got my little spatula, my paddle that I could stir with. It's got 2 ends to it. I usually use the big fat end. And it almost looks like gray, muddy water. I'm gonna pick up the camera in a second and show you exactly what we're looking at here, but it's pretty like kind of gross and lumpy and gray. And then when you actually pour the juice of the wine into it, you're gonna think, oh my goodness, I did something totally wrong. This is not what wine is supposed to look like. And you're right, that's not what wine looks like, because it has to be fermented first. So I'm just breaking all this bentonite up, mixing it all, because it clumps. And to me, this is like the worst part of making wine, because it looks gross and it's not easy to get the bentonite all kind of mixed together. So as you could see, it's just like gray, lumpy water, and I'm mixing all together. So I'm gonna keep working on this together, trying to get it all squeezed and diluted and into a solution. Okay, I've got my bentonite solution in my primary fermenter, the big white bucket, and it's still kind of lumpy. It's not as good as it's supposed to be, but we're gonna hope for the best. I'm gonna pour the juice in now. It's just that simple. Well, simple as it's really heavy, so it might take me a couple tries, and you might have to see me edit out some things. But we're gonna try and do it. So it's got this big yellow cap, and I'm gonna try and, okay, that's not coming off. So plan B, We're gonna cut the corner off with some scissors. And the one thing, you're gonna see some like residue and remnants in the bag once it's empty. Don't try and squeeze that part out. I did it. Okay. So as you can see, there's some, it looks kind of gross what's left in there. Don't try and squeeze that all out. You don't need that stuff. It smells like apple juice. Sweet, warm apple juice. Warm because the bentonite mixture was mixed with warm water. But I'm just gonna keep mixing just a little bit more and try and get that bentonite mixed in a little bit more. And then I need to fill up my primary fermenter with drinking water, good quality drinking water. Now, in my house, we have on our sink, we have a reverse osmosis, and it's triple filtered, so I just use tap water. You may want to, depending on where you live, get actual bottled water. And I'm just gonna use that, and I'm gonna fill it up, and it's just that easy. We're gonna let it sit for 2 weeks and ferment. So I'm just filling it up with my reverse osmosis triple filtered tap water. And it tells you exactly how much to fill it up to. In this particular juice, you're supposed to fill it up to the 23 liter mark, and that happens to be just where the line is so that I could see through my bucket. Now, if this required oak chips or granular oak, I'd be putting it at this stage now too, but this does not. It's a Sauvignon Blanc. It is unoaked. I'm not a fan of oak anyway, so I probably wouldn't get a kit that required oak to begin with. But for those of you that love oak and want that flavor, you could get like a cab that comes with oak chips or another type of varietal that you enjoy that requires oakiness. Okay, so I have my primary fermenter filled to where it needs to be filled. I've got a hydrometer in my hand now. I'm gonna measure the specific gravity that's basically measuring the sugar. Literally, I just drop it right in. Remember, it's already been sanitized. It's gonna bob up and down, and I'll see exactly where it lands. And let's see, let's move it around a little bit here. I gotta wait till it actually settles. Perfect. And now my good eyes tell me I am at 60. So I'm gonna write that down, and I'm gonna keep the date down too. I'm gonna write the date down so that I know exactly in 2 weeks when I go in what my alcohol level or my sugar level is. And before I seal it up, I'm gonna sprinkle on some yeast. That's my yeast packet. That's what's actually gonna make the alcohol. So I'm sprinkling that on right now. And just sprinkle all around. Just, if you've never seen yeast before, it just looks like tiny, tiny pebbles, almost like grains of sand. And it sits right on top. And then I've got my tight fitting lid, and I told you there's a hole in it. There's a reason there's that hole in it. It's actually very hard to get this down on too. Okay. So then the last thing I need to do, I'll get it all wet. Don't worry, I'll make sure it's completely sealed before I move it. The last thing I need to do is I need to put the aerator in. And this is filled with the solution for the sulfates. So in case any of it leaks, it's not gonna change anything going on. And I insert it into that black little hole. It's about halfway filled. And by tomorrow, I'll be sitting around and all of a sudden I hear glurp, 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 glurp. And so the fermentation will be happening, and you'll actually hear it by the bubbles coming through this little device here. So in 2 weeks, I'll show you what the wine looks like, and I'll show you what it looks like when I rack it into the carboy. All the items that you see here, I got to make wine at a place called Beer and Winemaker's Pantry in West Central Florida. They're also available online to purchase. The main things you saw me use today were the wine juice kit, obviously, and the big white bucket, obviously, is my primary fermenter. You saw me use the airlock and the spatula, as well as a hydrometer. Some other things you'll need to use over in the next few videos you'll see me use are the tubing that gets the wine from one place to the other, a wine thief, a bottle filler, a corker, a big glass jar called a carboy. You're also going to need 2 different stoppers, one with a hole to put the airlock in and one that's closed. So those are the basic items you're going to need to make wine. Let me know if you give it a try. I want to know what you think, how did it turn out for you. Hopefully you'll subscribe and see my future videos of when I rack the wine and eventually bottle it. And of course, I will be uncorking. See you next time.